Welcome, brothers and sisters. My name is Eros and I am the Toolmaker. For the lesson of today, in our series about divination, we will be talking about intuition. Now, please do remember that intuition is more a source of divination than a method of recognition itself. But of course, we are able to train many ways of reaching to our intuition to develop a better understanding of all the other divination technique and even to reach to our precognition, to our intuition directly. Most often than not, intuition is confused with the gut feelings or instinct, if you want to call it that. Now, instinct is more a way for us to understand, to reach our intuition. But to do so, to use our instinct in the correct way, we need to first learn to recognize when we have an instinct to do something or a gut feeling that we need to do something because we are actually reaching to our intuition, or because we got habits or habits patterns to do something, to repeat an action, or if this gut feeling is driven strictly by our emotions. How can we do so? We do so through the use of the technique of mind control that we have discussed before in a previous lesson. And of course, to best perform mind control, we need to be able to actually understand and actually recognize, especially our personal thoughts through the practice of mind control, but also through the practice of meditation. Otherwise, we tend to be driven by either habits or emotions. I hope this was clear. So we need to apply mind control and meditation to learn how to listen to ourselves and how to actually recognize our personal thoughts, also in our daily life. So we want to keep our personal beliefs in check so we can actually understand our thoughts, and when we got a glimpse of instinct, reaching to intuition. Then, a second way that we got to recognize our intuition is the act of recognizing patterns or recognizing signs around us. Those can be particular behavioral patterns or numerical patterns and so on. Usually they are recurrent, so they present themselves in many ways and very often. When we clearly recognize a pattern, that's the sign that something is happening, or at least is the sign that our intuition is making us recognize that specific pattern, that specific number, that specific happenings. So, in this case, we are usually going to apply other divination techniques to understand what that specific pattern means. Or if we have encountered that pattern or that sign before, we can reach to our experience to then apply the situation and the solution we have discovered before, we have discovered in a previous happening. Of course, in this case, we need to also insert into the discussion the déjà vus. Now, déjà vus are usually the sign that something is happening either in our perception or in the fabric of reality. Usually they are the same thing because we live trapped in cages of perception. But in that case, it's still a pattern that is presenting itself to us. So we need to either apply divination or use our experience to understand what is going on. In this case, of course, as always, I recommend you to take careful notes so you can reanalyze them in future occasions in which the same kind of déjà vu or the same pattern presents itself. A third way we can reach to our intuition, in this case very directly, is through visions or illuminations. Very bright ideas that present themselves to us. Now, in this case, we need to carefully observe those intuitions, those visions, those signs. They are most often than not self-explanatory, but we can't count on them to be always directly understandable. So, we want to take careful notes and try to understand what they are trying to tell us, and in a second moment we want to reanalyze those visions, those illuminations that we have taken careful notes of, to understand how they have developed in reality, into our reality, and how we should consider them when they present themselves in a second moment, in another moment. This is quite common during meditation, for example. It's quite common if you are quite advanced in the practice of meditation to reach some sort of an illumination or some sort of a vision. So you need to understand how to behave when those kind of visions present themselves to you. Now, this is more an art than a science. So you want to keep them in check. You actually want to keep notes. Just like you want to keep notes in a fourth method, which is the analysis of dreams. Now, when we have clear dreams, meaningful dreams, and of course you will start to recognize them when you start to walk with your intuition, you want to take careful notes into a diary, into a journal, so to speak. So you can catch the dream straight away when you wake up. So you want to keep your dream journal right next to your futon, right next to your bed. So you can write dreams down straight away and try to understand what those dreams are trying to tell you. And then in a second moment, you will be able to recheck, to control back what those dreams have told you about what was going to happen in your life, in your reality. Now, in the beginning, the analysis of dream may be very chaotic. But if you start to keep a dream journal, those messages will become much more clear in time and will give you more direct messages. Also, the practice of training and using, analyzing our intuition is very important during spirit communication. If you ever decide to actually practice spirit communication, this is because when you are trained through meditation, through mind control, to recognize your thoughts, your own thoughts, when you are trying to reach to a spirit and a spirit is trying back to connect to you, you will get much more clearer information, and especially you will recognize what thoughts in your mind are induced by a spirit from your own thoughts. So the communication in time will become extremely clear. Now, at the end of this episode, please do remember that, as always, we are trying to actually listen to ourselves, actually listen to our thoughts, and actually listening without waiting for our turn to speak. So, we want to listen, and we do not want to obsess in trying to find patterns anywhere, or in trying to, if we are trying to, for example, obsess over remembering a dream, we start to recompose that dream. We start to insert information that were not there. So we want to carefully listen, patiently listen, but we do not want to obsess with any method of listening to our intuition, either through instinct, through dreams, through visions. You never want to force a vision, of course. So listen and never obsess. I know this was a shorter episode and I went on a little more freestyle than usual, but this is what my intuition has told to me. So I hope I've helped you in some sort of way to better listen to your intuition, and I will wait for you in the next video. Of course, may eternal light shine upon you.